Looks like we're live. Hey, you guys, happy Sunday. Um, if you've been doing this with me for a while, then I would love for you to drop a comment. Let me know where you're listening in from, how you're doing, and when the time comes, whatever questions or comments you might have, just drop them like they're hot. All right. So today's topic is beauty, specifically the secret to eternal beauty. Um, in my world, there is a lot of talk about beauty, and it also ties very closely into the conversation about wellness as well. Sorry, let me just make sure I've got my live chat on my YouTube. Sorry about that. A little disruption coming back. Um, yeah, so the topic of beauty is very closely related to the topic of wellness in my world, meaning those of us that have sort of graduated beyond the superficial pursuit of looking good to be liked, for example. Those of us who know that beauty is, in fact, an aspect of our being and can be expressed in a multitude of ways. And what comes in conjunction with that, chicken and the egg, who knows what comes first, who gives a shit? Um, and what comes in conjunction with this expression of beauty is our wellness or a well-being. And so those are two closely related topics that are absolutely near and dear to my heart. And I'll say a little bit more about that shortly. Um, but I'm just going to give you the secret to eternal beauty right here, right now, in case you're just like, give it to me, Colette. I don't want to wait and hear you proselytize and preach and things. So just give me the goods. Well, the secret to eternal beauty is knowing your divinity. Okay. I can't say it any other way. And trust me, I have investigated this for decades. And so the thing that we don't easily recognize on some level, I think because it's so close, it's so intimate, it's so much a part of who we are that we don't actually see it. So we overlook the aspect of ourselves that is infinite and eternal, called our divinity. Listen, we can call it whatever you want. You can call it God, you can call it the Holy Spirit, you can call it spirit. I don't care. You can call it bubblegum. Okay. I don't care what we name that aspect of us, consciousness, right? The infinite. What we name this aspect of us is somewhat irrelevant. Knowing rather having the experience of it, mm, the understanding, the felt experience of this infinite consciousness that is the core or essential aspect of our being is the key to everything. Our beauty, our wealth, our well-being, our relationships, everything that we, believe we want in this life in order to be happy, okay? Happy, free, and fulfilled. And so when we don't know our divinity, when we don't know that aspect of ourselves, the way that we know the content of our lives and worlds, then we're constantly entangled in that content, looking for some satisfaction that we just can't ultimately ever achieve because the objects, the content, whether it's a relationship, a car, a mile marker in our business or whatever it is, status in the social world, whatever that achievement is, whatever that object is, can never fulfill the sense of who we are. So we're free to do whatever the fuck we want. So we can live our lives in the pursuit of objects, thinking once we have them or the next one or the best one, right, that we will then be at ease, at peace, and happy and fulfilled. you can live your entire life in that pursuit. Actually, let me say this. If you're listening to me, if you found your way to this video and this conversation, you probably already know that that path, that pursuit of um, happiness through external objective experiences and things ain't the ticket, right? If you're in my world, you probably already know that freedom, fulfillment, happiness, peace, and prosperity are all the results of what dwells within you, right? So as you are, then your world reflects back to you. So if you are happy, if you are free, if you've got beauty brewing in your heart and soul, and you do, if that's what you got going on within, it will be reflected back to you by the world, including an actual mirror. Okay. So, excuse me. I'm working with some clients right now. One in particular where, um, her body, she's had this lifelong um, cat and mouse game with her body. Sometimes she has the version of it that she wants and desires and is proud of, and other times she doesn't have it, and she's chasing a particular size and feel and wanting to see it reflected in the mirror back in a certain way, right? Does anybody else ever had that? I know I sure have. But her working with me now and us focusing in on her discovering her divinity and then looking through the eyes of the divine at herself, at her world, at her thoughts, at her feelings, right? Like perceiving these experiences. And by the way, thoughts and feelings are objects. They arise and they resolve, right? So something that comes in and goes away is an object. It has objective qualities. It is not eternal. It is not subjective, which your divinity is subjective, eternal, infinite, indivisible. You get what I'm saying? All right. So as we have shifted her paradigm to then see herself through the eyes of the divine, divine being self, the ultimate essential indivisible self, right? As we've been able to do that for her, she said to me things like, you know, I don't think my body has physically changed at all. But when I look at myself and when I put my clothes on and when I'm with my man, like I feel beautiful. I don't have that same self judgment or fear of like stuff looking funky or whatever. I don't have that anymore. And that's new for her. And like I said, it's been decades long of this back and forth game, really needing the body to change in order to feel beautiful. Right. So when we know our divinity, and by the way, knowing our divinity, like discovering it is one thing, and once you discover, once you see, once you experience, and in my world it's experiential, it's not intellectual. Okay. If it were as simple as reading a book or taking a course or watching a video, if it was as simple as that to get these concepts, then we'd all be fucking enlightened. We're not, because we are oftentimes pursuing this information, pursuing the understanding intellectually. And this is not, this knowing of our divinity doesn't exist in the egoic, logical, reasonable mind. It's experienced, you could say, in the heart, right? And so once we experience our divinity, that's what, for me, experiencing it is the one thing. The knowing of it is the continuous experience of it, right? To where you're like, oh, wow, yeah, I am infinite. And because I am infinite, that means I have all of the qualities, the abundance, the perfect health, the unconditional love. I have all of these qualities of God. of the divine, of the universe. And so once we experience that truth of who we are beyond the skin suit, beyond our the trappings of our world, which are beautiful, wonderful, fun things, right? It's not like we have to give up all of the physical qualities and attributes and things in order to know ourselves as divine infinite beings. We don't have to do that. They can coexist. In fact, that's the thing that I am take a like hard stance for, that we can be, in fact, enlightened beings and have a bunch of fun fucking things and do cool stuff. We don't have to depart from the wonderful world that we have created for ourselves through all of our egoic effort. The two can coexist harmoniously. So if that's something that you're into, I highly invite you to reach out. In fact, I'm going to say something here in a little bit about some changes that I'm making to the weekly service. I'm doing something a little bit more refined because I'm really taking a stand for those of us that are into self-mastery and like no more fucking around, you guys. No more bouncing back and forth between fear and doubt and worry and guilt and all kinds of stuff, and then faith and knowing and freedom and hope. No more bouncing back and forth. We need to take that stand, claim who we are, and then live our lives free and fulfilled. And so I'm going to invite you into like a little private thing that I'm up to here in just a little bit. But coming back to this one client that I'm telling you about and her having that revelation of who she really is. She's not those thoughts that seem to take over and take her down from time to time. She is not those feelings of not good enough, not thin enough, not pretty enough, not young enough. She's not any of those thoughts or feelings. She's not even her body, right? And that's true for all of us. We have a body, we have thoughts, we have feelings, we have a past and a future, and we have all these roles that we live in our lives. But who we are is infinite and eternal. And I've also come to understand that there are three main ways that we come to know our divinity, that infinite aspect of our being. And one of the way that I'm particularly interested in at the moment is through the avenue of beauty. Okay. And beauty is something that we can experience not just in our physical, like face and body, but like observing a sunset, right? Beholding a sunset is a thing of beauty. Um, Listening to a song that just stimulates something inside of you that just feels incredible, whether that's a feeling of, you know, like a cosmic sort of upliftment, or maybe you just feel so fucking confident and so on your game, right? Music, listening to music, certain music can be a thing of beauty, and it stimulates that essence inside of you. And same thing with eating a meal, right? So you get where I'm going here, right? We experience beauty through our five senses, and through our five senses, that these are all wonderful avenues that can lead us to the eternal beauty, also known as your divinity. Okay, so beauty is one of the three ways that we can experience our divinity. Or I also like to say, beauty is one way that we can come to know God. All right, so the other two ways are through understanding. So this is the accumulation of knowledge, but again, it doesn't just live in your calculator computer of a brain. It's knowledge that is assimilated and um, it's a knowing that you feel in your body and in your bones, right? You embody the information until it becomes a knowing. So that's another avenue to experience our divinity. Um, and then the other one is love, right? Love or devotion is another way that we can come to know our divinity, or also you could say the avenue of love is a way to know God. But for the purpose of this conversation, we're focused on the truth about beauty. And so, just to recap, one of the main things that I said, the secret to eternal beauty is knowing your divinity. And the good news to that is if you explore what you explore the world of beauty, you will, and you really explore it, not just skim the surface or just look at this sort of superficial. There's a lot of superficial stuff happening in the world of beauty, so that's not what I'm talking about, right? If you investigate what you perceive as beauty, what you and perceive with all five of your senses, right? What you perceive as beautiful, when you investigate what that stimulates inside of you, you will arrive. If you keep going, you will arrive at your essential nature, also known as consciousness, also known as the infinite, also known as your divinity, also known as God. Okay. So, um, the thing about this, what I'm saying here, is it's often um, so philosophical or conceptual that our intellectual mind, our ego, that likes things to be tangible, measurable, quantifiable, etc., is trying to figure out how. Like how does that work? How, like, what are the steps? And that's fine, right? But again, this, what I'm sharing with you here, this concept is not meant to be understood with the intellectual mind. So that being said, if you would like to investigate this, there's a couple of ways that you can work with me. The first is the metaphysical makeover. It is the ultra VIP offer that I have. It's an enlightening experience. It's elite, it's elegant, and it's everlasting. And I say that with absolute confidence. Because again, the work that I do, once it's activated in you, it can't be deactivated. Meaning, once you know your divinity, you can't not know it anymore, right? It now there is an integration process, right? There is a acclimation of, now you know who you really are. So what do you want your life, your body, your world to look like? That takes a little bit of time, which is why there's support after the metaphysical makeover to help you actually bring your dream to, like, to life, right? So that's one way that I can support you if you would like my support. The other way is in the Metaphysical Mastermind. So this is my group, small, powerful group where we come together and support one another in the manifestation through metaphysics, the manifestation of whatever your greatest desire is. And there are elements from the metaphysical makeover in the mastermind, but the mastermind is 100% virtual. Whereas the makeover, my, again, the big mama, is actually done in my office. So you would come here and we would have a half day together to transform yourself from the inside out, and then chart a course for what you want your life to look like. And by the way, I just want you to know that the transformation of your world from your new self concept, your new self image, from your divinity, the transformation of your world doesn't have to take years. It does not have to take years. That is a concept of the ego, that things are, slow and hard to change and, solid in nature and nobody's going to help me and da 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 da. That's not what we're dealing with in my world. Okay. We actually use metaphysics to make the changes so that they happen rapidly. And other people are involved, meaning you sort of enroll people in your vision so that they want to participate and support what you're creating. So it's real cool stuff. And again, that's how I can support you if you would like to turn these concepts into realities in your life. All right. So I promised to also share what to stop giving our energy to if we want to experience eternal beauty. Well, a little more water. Well, I've already sort of started to touch on some of the things that don't mm, measure up to the ideal of eternal beauty. And those are things like the opinions of others, social status, the acquiring of things, including what your body and your face look like. Now, am I saying just let yourself go and fucking no, I am not saying that. Do what feels uplifting and inspiring and energizing to you. Um, but don't do it for some external validation. Don't do it because you think you need someone's approval or love or likes on your socials um, in order to be worthy, loved, valued, beautiful. Okay? Do it because it's an expression of who you are, not from a place of lack or insecurity. Okay. I made a post a couple of days ago that confidence based on external conditions is shaky, right? It can be, it can be that confidence can crumble, but our conviction in who we are is unshakable. Okay, so knowing our divinity, that is the conviction that I'm speaking of. And so oftentimes, I know I did at one point, I was in the confidence building business. Hell, I even had a program, how to build your confidence or something like that. But the confidence usually implies, and I'm speaking generally, this is not you know, all across the board, but I'm speaking generally here. Confidence usually implies that we like what we see and we like who we are being based on what the world and the conditions of our lives are telling us that we should think and feel about ourselves. So, unfortunately, that is, it's just not stable. It's just going to always be dependent on something and someone outside of you. So don't give your energy to the opinions of others or the conditions of your life if you're wanting to experience confidence or conviction or eternal beauty. All right. The other thing that we can stop giving our energy to is all of the all of the self-improvement strategies that sell you on something being wrong with you or needing to improve at the level of your personality or your identity, including your body. Okay. Here's my point. Your body does not need to change for you to feel beautiful and have, I'll use the word for now, have confidence. Okay. Your body does not need to change for you to be beautiful and confident. So any programs, and they could be not physical body related, but any programs that are selling you strategies to fix what's wrong with you is only selling to your ego. Okay, where the ego is like, no matter what I do, I will not be perfect, right? No matter what I do, I won't be worthy of unconditional love. That's just the program of the ego, and it's there for a reason. It's designed to keep us safe, but we're not in danger for the most part. Most of us aren't, our lives aren't in danger the way they were when all of our systems came online, right? We don't have to find shelter. We don't have to hunt for food. We don't have to run from, danger necessarily. And so the ego is real good for discerning danger and remembering what to look out for. But because we don't live that way, because we've evolved, human beings have evolved, we no longer are needing that particular mechanism, but it's still inside of us. Only now, a lot of things that we think we need are to improve our brokenness, to heal our wounds, to become better looking or better coaches or better entrepreneurs or better lovers or better something, right? Which just implies, or rather overlooks, which is what I stated in the very beginning of this video, overlooks our divinity. Our divinity is perfect. This aspect of us is perfect. It's perfectly loved, it's perfectly formed, and it's perfectly functioning. Okay? There's nothing to fix. There's nothing that's missing. There is nothing you need to do or anyone else needs to do to experience this perfection that you are and have always been and will always be. Okay? So let's stop giving our energy the um, to the conversation around what's wrong and how to fix it at the level of ego, or as I say, at the level of identity, right? Identifying as someone who's not pretty enough, not smart enough, not rich enough, not loved enough, not something enough, right? That's the level of identity that will always be seeking something more, something better, something new, because it believes that who it is isn't enough. Okay. So let's move beyond this conversation of enhancing our identity and improving our circumstances. And let's get straight to the fucking soul of the matter called knowing our divinity. Okay. And again, that can happen rapidly, you guys. You don't have to go on a pilgrimage. You can. There's many ways to arrive at the knowing of your infinite eternal nature. I'm just interested in the fun, you know, fancy, direct, everlasting way, right? I don't want to go to the jungle in Peru and purge after taking a bunch of medicine. Lots of people do, and I know lots of people who do, and that's a wonderful thing. I don't want to do that. I want the Tiffany version of spiritual treatment. So that's what the metaphysical makeover is. And the thing that I'll say about that, one of the last things that I'll say about that is spiritual awakening, otherwise known as enlightenment. And by the way, enlightenment just means the knowing of self, right? Um, Spiritual awakening or enlightenment doesn't have to be rigorous. You don't have to go through the dark night of the soul. I mean, lots of us have. Some, like, we find our way back to the light and all the things, but we don't have to do that. Okay. Spiritual awakening or enlightenment can be elegant, is what I'm trying to say. And that's what the metaphysical makeover that I've created is specifically for. So, um, So yeah, don't give your energy to self-improvement or spiritual treatments or, processes or whatever. Don't give your energy to those that are marketing to your wound, which is I'm broken, I'm not worthy, I'm not good enough, some version of that, right? And then selling you on how to fix that broken part of you, because I promise you that you may get some relief. You may be like, oh, okay, that is like, oh, that level or layer of my brokenness is healed. But the next one fucking pops up. And it's never ending because you aren't getting to the essence of who you are. You aren't getting to the core of your being, your divinity. Okay. You're living at the level of identity, and there's a never ending, infinite, ongoing hamster wheel of things to fix about yourself when you stay there. And there are plenty of people and plenty of programs and plenty of books and plenty of teachers and plenty of that are marketing to that. That again, they will likely fix what they propose to fix. But unless the ultimate outcome from those experiences is that you are God, the divine, infinite, right? Unless you know that as a result of doing these self improvement programs or going on these spiritual journeys, unless you know that, you still got work to do. In other words, you'll be in another program in another few months. Okay. And I'm really only interested in people who want to go straight to the source of their entire lives, right? To know your divinity. If that's something that you're into, well, come on into my world and let's dive in, have fun, and make magic. Now, I promised I was going to share a little bit of a change that I'm making to this weekly service. And here's what it is. I've been doing these Sunday services for about 6, maybe 8 weeks now. I've lost count. And I've gotten some feedback that it's helpful and you guys are enjoying this. And I love that. And I'm going to invite you to take the next step. And it's, there's no, there's no, I don't know, there's no, the only requirement is that you sign up and show up for yourself. Okay, so the sign up is to join me in the Luminary Lounge because I'm moving these services, these conversations to a private group. It's not on Facebook. Okay, you have to actually sign up, and I'll drop a link. Actually, that'd probably be real fucking helpful to have the link to the Luminary Lounge. So let me grab that for you. But yeah, you sign up and you join the world's only virtual private club for those of us who are dedicated to quite frankly bringing our dreams to life. And so what the flip flop is going on here? That's not what I want. Sorry, I'm grabbing the link to join the Luminary Lounge and I went to the wrong tab. So you just sign up, you show up, and these services that I'm sharing with you are going to be based even more. There's the link in the comments. Based even more on what it is. There it is in that comment. Okay, based on what specifically you want, and there will be more interaction between you and I. So this is like I said, it's a private group where we're going to dive more deeply and get more specific because I can share with you these concepts like I have been and give you sort of philosophy, but in my world, it's the experience that has these concepts go from neat information to actually impacting you and your life on a physical plane. Okay, so that's the next level with me. Join the Luminary Lounge. We're going to still share these concepts and then this philosophy, but we're going to add to that practical applications so that you can take these concepts and turn them into something actually useful for you in your life and in your world. Okay, so any questions about any of this that I've shared so far? Now would be a good time to pop that in the comments while I take a drink of water. Excuse me. Uh-oh, do I need to mute myself? Hang on. Hopefully you didn't hear that. Okay, so any questions about eternal beauty, about knowing your divinity, about what not to give your attention to if you want to experience your divinity and your eternal beauty? Any questions about that? Alexa says, "Don't die, huh?" I choke on water of all things sometimes. I don't know. You guys know how it hits like the back of your throat, right? It's awkward. um, all right. So I don't see any questions in the chat on YouTube's, which is totally fine. Ooh, here's another bit of information. I've already started to do interviews with experts that I will be sharing on my YouTube channel. They're not live; they're going to be pre-recorded, and I'll be marketing that and promoting that when the time comes. But you'll have the opportunity to hear from other people. Um, I'm still playing with the title. I started with the title Let's Get Naked, right? It's where we strip down to the soul of the situation and tell the truth as we see it. But I'm not sure, like I've also been, the people that I've been inviting to be on the show, when I send them emails for Let's Get Naked, I think their systems see like, oh, alert, alert, because my emails are going to people's spam folders, which is annoying. So I don't know, the naked truth. I don't know. I might have to just totally tank that name, which I love. Let's Get Naked. But I'll keep you in the loop. And it should be a lot of fun to have interesting conversations about the things that light us up, that turn us on, that give us meaning and drive our purpose in the world. So, with that in mind, if you would like to be a guest, if you'd like to be interviewed by me, drop a comment and I will reach out to you and connect and see if that's a good idea. How about that? All right, so if we don't have any questions coming in right now, then we're going to go ahead and get to um, metaphysical prayer. So, you guys know I do this every week. Metaphysical prayer differs from traditional prayer in as much as we are not hoping, wishing, wanting, pleading to God or something out there, somewhere up there outside of ourselves. We are not asking from a place of lack and longing and despair. We are not asking for something that's not already within us. Okay, metaphysical prayer is the acknowledgement of the infinite I am. Okay, our eternal nature, where everything already exists in its infinite state, infinite abundance, y'all, infinite health, infinite love, all here, all now. So in metaphysical prayer, we give appreciation, we acknowledge that aspect of who we are, the allness of who we are, our divinity. Okay, we acknowledge that, we praise that which we already are. And once we are sort of in that space of feeling good and knowing, and it's love and it's effervescent sometimes, or maybe it's not like bubbly and you know joyful. Maybe it's not that. Maybe it's peaceful, right? So maybe it's just nice and quiet and just grace and ease. Whatever that state of knowing of your divinity is that we arrive at rapidly in our metaphysical prayer. Whatever that state is for you, once you're there and you're enjoying it, and it's sort of, you can sort of maintain it for a few seconds, then you let your mind create a specific seed, a desire, if you will, um, to be a multimillionaire. Okay. And I am, and you say it in an affirmative way, I am prosperous. I am a multimillionaire, or I am becoming a multimillionaire. However, it resonates as truth within you right now. It's not some fake it till you make it affirmation, because your body will know, and that'll kick you out of that state of consciousness that you just cultivated. If you're telling yourself some bullshit lies, right? Trying to convince yourself of something, that's not how metaphysical prayer works. So if you are like, let's just use abundance for right now. If you're wanting more money, okay, remember, we're not pleading for something to happen, hoping someone hears us and sends it to us from somewhere. Okay, that's not what we're doing here. We're accessing our infinite abundance, the truth of who we are, which is infinite and abundant, right? Can't be infinite without being abundant. um, we access the truth of who we are, and we appreciate that. And then, um, and then maybe we say thank you for all of the abundance that I have and am receiving. Okay. Thank you for the prosperity that I have, and I am receiving. So that's the seed that we cultivate or create. We take the seed from our mind, our thoughts, right? And as we're experiencing that love, that infinite knowing, then we plant that seed. We just let it on its own internally sort of fall into that fertile soil of love and appreciation that we've cultivated inside of us. Okay. So that's how metaphysical prayer works. It's an acknowledgement of our infinite nature, the abundance that we already are, our divinity. It's the appreciation for this moment that we can know ourselves. And then in that knowing, in that um, presence, is when we let the seed that we of our desire be planted in that fertile, infinite soil of creation. Okay. All right. So there it is. So let's do that together. And again, remember, I don't say a whole lot. I just said a whole lot already. So when I do this, I go in and do what I just said. So you'll just see me like eyes closed, taking deep breaths. I might say a few words here and there, but it's not instructive. It's not a guided meditation. Cool. All right. So if you're joining me, then take a couple of deep breaths, get comfy. Let your body relax wherever it's gripping or resisting or tense. Just use your breath. Use your breath to let it go. Good. You might say thank you if that works for you. Thank you, Father, if that is more your language. Mm-hmm. Thank you. It feels so good. I'm so happy and so grateful for the infinite wealth, perfect health, and unconditional love that I am, that I have, and that I get to enjoy. And so it is. All right, you guys. Again, if you're watching this on the replay, I absolutely welcome comments. If there's something that feels a little sensitive to share publicly, then just send me a DM, and I will do my best to circle back and get you some answers or any kind of resources that I might have that would support you. All right, that's it for today. Again, Luminary Lounge. I dropped a link to join. It's the private club where I will be sharing these concepts, this philosophy, as well as more practical applications so that you can use this in your actual life, not just get off on the theory of it, right? Because I do realize that there's something that gets transmitted when I share this, but my ultimate intention is for you to get it and use it so that you can have the life of your motherfucking dreams. Okay? All right, you guys. I'll see you later. Bye.